Hello. We have another test example that I think will work well and achieve and solve the issues that we kind of discussed in our last meeting. So if you can look on the screen, or what you should be able to see is you should see me, who will basically be John in this scenario once we're actually recording, and then we have our two guests, which right now Steve is posing as both of the guests. Right now, what we have is we're all in an actual Skype group chat, and or a group, not chat, but we're in a Skype group, and I'm able to pull the video feeds from each of those users. So he's acting as guest one and guest two. He's in our group as two separate people. So when we have our guests, we will have them in this group that we can pull their video feed from. This is the platform we found that is the easiest to access. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. They just simply need to make a normal Skype account. It's not Skype for Business like the university used to have. This is just the normal Microsoft Skype. They'll just need to share the email addresses with us once they create that so that we can put them in this group. And then we will do our test session with them to make sure their camera's working, their audio's working, and all of the tech is working. So that's how this is working. We're in Skype, and he's an individual user in Skype. What this allows me to do on the back end side, since you obviously won't see me, I'm not going to be on camera, is I'll be able to control what the people who are tuning into the live stream, what they will see. So right now, Steve is, let's say, acting as guest 2. I could actually switch to the guest 2 feed and would be able to solo them if they're going into a little bit more detail or whatever it is that they're doing. And then let's say it was to go to guest 1 is then doing content. I could then switch to guest 1. So I'm the one who is controlling switching those feeds. And then if we need to bring it back out, we can bring it back out to the group view. So I'm doing all of that from behind the scenes. And what's nice about this is using the software that I'm using, I could actually do it remotely if I needed to, or I could just be in a separate room controlling all of this. So I don't have to have any kind of in-person contact in order to control that. Secondly, what the guests, the people who are on the Skype call, will be able to see is the view it's actually pretty much what you're seeing right now with this video. I'm essentially sharing the screen with Steve, and Steve is able to live monitor what is being broadcast out. So the users will be able to kind of see that they are the focus and what the actual people who are tuning in are going to see. So that's going to be their view. I wanted to point that out because that could be a little confusing, but I think once we do our test session, the guests who are a part of this, it'll make more sense to them. And we'll all know who's being shown, and it'll be kind of like a confidence monitor that they know exactly what's being shown, and it's a way to do that. The last thing that I'm going to touch on is what will happen behind the scenes is all of us, the users, the guests, myself, Steve, our person who's going to handle the live questions, we will all be a part of this Skype group, and we can solve any problems we need to in the Skype group chat. So if, let's say, somebody's mic accidentally turns off or their video feed turns off, we can kind of solve that problem in chat. So that's a way for us to live communicate without being in the same room. The last thing I want to talk about is I have a mock-up of the way that this looks, so you can see the graphics of the lower thirds that are with each guest, with the host, the background that I've created. All of that can be changed if you want to show something specific. I just made those to kind of give you a good guideline of what it could look like. So keep that in mind. If you have any suggestions for the way you want that to look, please tell me, and we can change all of that out. So this is our example. What I need to know is if this seems like this will work for you, if you want to move forward with this setup. If that is the case, then when we do our test setup next week with all of us, with John, Lauren, whoever else is going to be a part of this, I will need you to create a Skype account and share that email with me so we can go ahead and set up a group. If this doesn't work, then we need to take a step back and think about how we want to do it. But from our point of view, this is easiest for the guests. It gives us the most control. And honestly, I think it's going to look the best, especially for the amount of people that could see this. So that is my opinion. Steve, if there's anything else you want to say, just so they can hear you and know that that's going to work, please feel free to say anything you want to add.
Sure. I just want to give two examples. I'm using AirPods connected to a Mac camera right here on the screen. So this is the quality of the audio that you might expect in video. I have a window in front of me. This camera over here is one of the Logitech cameras that I borrowed from your office. And so the lighting is a little different because I'm not quite looking at the window, but this is the quality right now that this camera is giving me. I'm still using audio connected to this other one. Let me switch over real quick just so we can hear audio. Okay, hopefully we're hearing the audio on the, sorry, it was a little distracting because I have a monitor in my ear. So audio now coming from the Logitech camera. We'll see if there's any difference between the two.
Yeah, and just from my point of view, you could definitely tell a difference, but the switching was you could definitely tell from my point of view the switching was obvious, but it didn't cause any kind of hiccups with the stream, and I could just tell it sounded fine. It didn't really sound too poor, so from a quality perspective, I think we'll be okay. But yeah, that pretty much concludes this. And please send me any kind of feedback you have, and I think we're both excited to do this and see what we can do. Thanks.